Well, good morning. Today is Thursday, the 19th of December, and today we are in Proverbs chapter 20, and we're going to be looking at verses 21 through verse 30 today. An inheritance gained hastily at the beginning will not be blessed at the end. Do not say, I will recompense evil. Wait for the Lord, and he will save you. Diverse weights are an abomination to the Lord, and dishonest scales are no good. A man's steps are of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? It is a snare for a man to devote rashly something as holy, and afterward to reconsider his vows. A wise king sifts out the wicked and brings the threshing wheel over them. The spirit of a man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all the inner depths of his heart. Mercy and truth preserve the king, and by loving kindness he upholds his throne. The glory of young men is their strength, and the splendor of old men is their gray head. Blows that hurt cleanse away evil, as do stripes the inner depths of the heart. As we looked at yesterday and this week, as we've been looking at these different proverbs, it's important just to understand the purpose of proverbs. The audience is a general audience. These are wisdom statements, and they speak to a variety of topics that are common to man. I think it's important as we read through Proverbs, each one should be pondered, kind of chewed a little bit, and just meditate on it. And is there application for you? Is there something that's pertinent to something that you're going through in your life at this moment? He talks about so many different things in just these 9 verses. So how do we understand them? Well, we understand them as truth statements. How they impact us, how they apply to our life, well, it's going to vary depending on your circumstances, depending on what you're going through. I have here in my quiet time diary it's a little commentary, and commentaries are not inspired. They're just another person's opinion or insight into the passage. So they can be helpful because sometimes they can ask questions that maybe you hadn't thought about, or bring out things a little clearer that you hadn't noticed. So I'm just going to take a moment and I'm going to read today's commentary. It just simply says, Solomon continued to dispense good advice based on godly wisdom. In attempting to influence his sons to think of the long-term benefits of a godly life, he warns against attempts to gain prosperity by prematurely seeking wealth. Verse 21. One needs only to review the parable of the prodigal son in Luke chapter 15, to recognize the pitfalls of asking for one's inheritance before it is time. It's true. David, the shepherd boy who would be king, serves as an excellent example of one who followed the principles of verse 22. Verse 22 again said, do not say, I will repay evil. Wait for the Lord, and he will save you. David, as we know, was wickedly pursued by Saul for years, and he was given multiple opportunities to avenge himself, but David refused to take matters into his own hands. Rather, he waited, trusted in the Lord to bring to pass the recompense that he desired. And so, wait on the Lord. Verse 23 repeats a common theme in Proverbs, which points to how God perceives cheaters, faulty weights and measures and so forth. Whether in buying or selling or some other function in society, the Creator is passionately opposed to any form of deceit or dishonesty. The ideas expressed in the Proverbs paint for the reader a picture of how to live one's best life. Trusting the Lord for direction is one such idea repeated often in these writings. Verse 24 tells us that God's sovereign hand directs man's paths. In other words, God directs the decisions and conduct of the man who learns to lean on the Lord. Sadly, this cannot be said of those who reject God's instruction. They want to follow their own path, even to their own hurt. Just as a lamp illuminates the darkness, so God reveals what is in man's spirit. There are no secrets with the Almighty. The wise man and woman realizes that God searches out even the secrets of a person's innermost being, verse 27. We see also that the generational difference between young and old do not diminish their value. Strength enhances the reputation of the young, while wisdom is the old man's glory. Again, a lot of these are just practical truth statements. You read them and it's like, oh, that's a fact. That's a fact. But sometimes it's important just to be reminded of things. So, as I read through this passage, there are a few that mean more, maybe speak a little louder to me at this stage of my life than to someone else. But I'm just reminded that there in verse 22 where he says, do not say, I will recompense evil. Wait for the Lord and he will save you. It's important to not react rashly when you've been wronged, or if you feel you've been wronged. Give it to the Lord. Wait on the Lord is exactly what it says. Wait for the Lord. That's sometimes very difficult, right? I mean, we get our feelings hurt, we get offended, and maybe somebody does something against us that hurts our family or hurts us personally, and we want our pound of flesh. God says many, many times in Scripture, do not repay evil with evil, but repay evil with good. It's hard to do. But we can do it because we know that God's keeping check, God's keeping score, and he will make it all right. So we just need to trust him. That one stands out to me this morning. Then we think about verse 26. A wise king sifts out the wicked and brings the threshing wheel over them. As most of us have over the last few months, we've all followed what's going on in our nation in the political scene, and there's been a lot made about the president's pardons. Everybody knew that he would pardon his son, and however you feel about that. But I know that President Biden has caught a lot of flack for pardoning a judge up in Pennsylvania who had sentenced juveniles to go to a private prison and got a kickback from that prison. And he was sentenced to prison for that. He went to jail for that. And the fact that he was pardoned, a lot of people have been upset by that. And it just makes you think about, the rule of law. We've heard so much talked about the rule of law, and oh wow, now we have a president-elect who's a convicted felon and all these things. And it's the role of the king to sift out the wicked and bring the threshing wheel over them. No, the threshing wheel crushes. There is the role of government. The role of civil government is to punish the wicked. It's to maintain peace and order in society. It's not to be lax in that area. And we all understand. We know how crooked so many people are. The old saying is power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. We've all seen it. But it makes me think ahead that one day the Bible tells us that Jesus will rule and reign for 1,000 years on this earth with a rod of iron. And he will be completely just. He's not a respecter of persons, but he's merciful at the same time. And that's an interesting paradox, isn't it? To be just, to be just and demand justice, but also to be merciful and withhold justice. What's the trigger for mercy? The trigger for mercy is a contrite heart, a godly sorrow, a brokenness over sin. And that's the trigger of mercy. So that's just what I got out of these verses. Maybe a different verse speaks loudly to you at this point. But that's just how Proverbs works. That's all I have for today. I hope you have a blessed day. We will see you again tomorrow.